All right, here we go. And yeah, if you want to ask questions about the game, after I publish it, it becomes a video. Just comment on the video because it's really hard for me to it's actually really hard for after me to... After I publish it, it becomes a video. Just comment on... It's really hard for me to answer while the game's going on because I have to play the game as well, so can't divert that much. I can't really divert that much attention away. Not at that point, at least. I wonder if this is like a... I really wonder if this is like... this is like a very similar start to last time. And I'm just wondering if this is like a really popular AI start or something like that. And there's a... I feel like this is like a really popular AI start or something like that. That's not a good move. I mean, I guess it's okay. It's not bad. But that does actually give me Sente on that. And this is like too... Like right now, this is like way too repetitive. I don't actually know what's the biggest move right now, though. That's the thing. Like in this kind of situation, it is kind of hard for me to move. And this is one
Challenge
possibility.
Received.
I'm like, I'm not going to accept that challenge because I'm actually playing right now. I don't play multiple games at once. So I'm not really sure what the best move is right now. It is kind of strange. It could be something over here, but I'm just not really sure what the best move is right now. It's kind of weird for me. And this is like a position that I'm really not used to. And it could be like one of many moves, you know? Like, I could just do something like this to decrease the possibility of this, but I'm not really sure. Because I've already got like, because I already got a pretty big advantage on... I've already got a pretty big advantage, like, doing this. Just going to go ahead and do this. I think he's going to try to build up here. I'm okay with doing this. Basically, like, I think getting this kind of like disrupts what he was trying to do in the first place. That's not a good move for him. That's definitely not a good move for him, letting me do that. Because you got to think about your goal. You're trying to get like... You're trying to get this... you're trying to get like this influence up here. But letting me stick out here is definitely just not the way to go. And you're giving me so much. You're legitimately giving me like so much here. Like if I fly up this way, your territory that you got with all these stones is very limited. And you don't really have any threat on this group here. Yeah, that's not a... I mean, I don't even have to do this, but I just don't think this is a very good move. I mean, like, this territory here just isn't that much. I am willing to fight because Yeah, if you're gonna do this, like, if you are honestly willing to do this, then this is just not good. This is not good for you. This is not good for black at all. Because you have like no more potential over here at this point. Like this is all you got. This is all black got here. And it's not really that much territory. That's at least the right move for him right now. I don't know why you do that, though. That really doesn't make any sense at all. Because now you kind of like disrupted your whole purpose of doing that. I'm not even going to bother with that. Yeah, that was a pretty big loss for him. And I think you guys have to remember, I've mentioned this before, like this move is still here. So his influence in the end isn't going to get him that much territory. His influence in the end is not going to get him much territory at all. This is very, very damaging for black. It's really not, there's honestly like nothing you can do about that. This just doesn't have much this like has no like this literally has like zero territorial potential right now. Like I think you got to ask yourself like what did I get? He has to ask this like you have to ask yourself like what did I actually get for all of this? And honestly the answer is not a lot. You like legitimately have he has legitimately like no territory here. That's a big problem. Yeah, look, in the end, I gained way more territory than he did here. Like, way, way more. That's actually not much here. This is actually much bigger. That's Sente for him. I mean, this is fine. I have no problem with this. Just go ahead and seal off this, I guess. Yeah, he didn't really need to do that because that's not that big. I'm going to go ahead and do this just to shut that out. I'm going to do this first. And then there's quite a few here that's actually worth a bit. I think this is pretty big because then I can Hane this. Okay, you didn't really need to do that because that's not really worth anything. That is not a big move, but it does allow some like advantages. It does actually allow me to take some advantages, so I will do that. I don't know which one's bigger. I'm going to go ahead and Hane this one first. This is this is actually quite big. Guys, please hit the likes. It would really help me. There's a lot of Sentes I can actually take. That could have been one of them. I think I'm just going to go and do this right now. That one is not as big as some of the others, I don't think. I'm going to do this first. This one's much bigger. This move is a lot bigger. Because you always have this. I think I'm just going to do this. Pretty sure, like, just make sure it's alive. It's actually decently big. I get some points here. He got some points in there, and that wasn't necessary. That's not that many points. I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's going to take a lot of the Sente moves. That's bad. Like, you should block that. There's really not much I can do there. Yeah, the thing is, like, I've got a lot of advantages of him just in the closing game. I took a whole bunch of advantages just in the closing game. Don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really know what else is big here. I don't really Maybe something like this. That also wasn't necessary right now. Yeah, you honestly don't need to answer all my moves. That's just going to cost you a lot of points. Like, you have to find Senteis yourself and take, like, certain advantages. If you answer all my moves, I mean... Okay. I don't know if that's worth answering right now. I think I will just in case, but... That doesn't need to be answered because I can just connect otherwise. Block off this. And honey this. Should be up by around maybe 20, I would think. A little bit more, maybe. Not 100% sure, but probably around that much. Just going to connect a couple of things, just in case there's errors. He needs to connect this later, obviously. Okay, that's good. Let's fill in these things. Connect.
Pass. Remove the dead stones.
Oh, it's head by around 30, okay. This is also another passive game, but there are basically certain things in here that allow me to pull ahead. So I'm not really I'm not really sure if like ignoring this approach is kind of like an AI thing. It might be. I don't favor it. I mean, it's fine, but I don't really favor it. You let me get this double approach, and then that, which means I get the invasion on the corner. Like I said, this is okay. I don't favor this because like I feel like this is too narrow. But you do get some influence on the outside. I think just giving up the two corners is too much. And plus you have this invasion here and this invasion here that people can take advantage of later. This, I'm going to do this. That's fine. And then that's not a good move. That gives me like an extension out. And this this is too big. I think this is too small of a pincer now, especially since I can actually do that. Now, the AI says like this is actually good for black, but I am fine with this because you spent so many moves to get like so little territory here, and plus I get the entire corner, so I will always make that exchange. But I guess like really super high level, it's not a good exchange for white. I should just leave it alone because it solidifies black. But I'm perfectly fine with it because I get like several points in the corner, and he doesn't get any extra territory. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. This is an okay move, I think. I feel like this one I would definitely like if I was black, I would definitely like defend this territory somehow. I guess or play something like this. I don't want to fly up here and give like white a low approach here. So because like oops sorry because if you play like here, I just don't think it's solid, quite as solid. I think he's trying to build the influence up here, but still, I'm gonna take the territory as always. The thing is, here's the thing. Like, here's a big mistake that he actually made. He actually hunted me. If you're trying to build the territory up here, you would honestly just do this. Because look, like, yes, you did give me a lot of territory, but look what you actually gained up here. And then you have the Sente, so you would force something like this, right? So you would actually gain a lot of influence up here. And you can actually make a lot more territory here. Like, like, honestly, for this move, I should have just jumped. I probably should have just jumped up to answer this move. But if I answer like this, like honestly, if I answer like this, you just kind of do this and seal your top influence because that's what you were going to do anyways. I think that's what you were going to do anyways, sealing the top influence. Because that's what a move like this is actually intended to do. A move like this is not to actually invade this territory. This bottom territory, there's not much territory here. A move like this is 100% to seal your top influence. So actually, like letting me do this, letting me actually get this Hane up doesn't really make any sense because if I like do something, if in the future I do something like this, then this is still very problematic for black. So I feel like I would just do this. I mean, if white does if white responds, I would probably just do this. I think I personally don't think like white probably should just not respond to this and like either come down here or come up here. I would favor up here, but Hane, you do that. I go here, but now when you Hane, like I'm not going to respond, and I'm going to push that. I mean, I made that might have not since it's been such a good move. Connect. He does this. I get the extension out. I'm going to threaten this. So he's going to do that. Yeah, you know, honestly, like since you have the Atari here, I probably wouldn't fix this issue right now. So fixes that. I'm going to get this extension and realistically, if I was black, I would play here just to invade. You're already very strong over here. So I would definitely take this fight. And like while forcing my stones over here, you can probably build up like this Moyo here. So that's what I would do. Like at this stage, the game is still very, very close. So I would definitely just invade here and basically force a fight because you're not really trying to defend this. Like you're not going to use this influence to try to build territory over here. You're actually trying to like force me kind of this way. So you can actually build up the territory over here using attacking these two stones. That's technically how you're like realistically, that's how you're supposed to use influence. You're not really supposed to use influence to like try to squeeze as much territory as possible here. You're actually trying to use influence to attack my stones and gain advantages from attacking my stones. That's generally how influence is supposed to be used. So I'm going to do this because like this is a lot of territory down here. And I'm not really afraid of your influence up here. You pretty much have to Hane on this. Extending here gives me free Sente, and that is so damaging for black. Because then now if I do this, like you don't have much territory up here. And this is why like after I do this, you do not actually like answer here. There's just not enough territory for you to answer here. Because think about it, like you probably have territory up to this line anyways. So anything you do here basically is trying to surround like 8 or 9 points. And as the AI said, this is a much better move because it threatens H17. So he's gonna answer this way, and this is where white really starts to pull ahead. Because I'm building up my influence this way, and I'm shrinking your territory this way. And there's just not that much territory here at all. I don't know, like this, I might just do this and choose to fight instead. Although, like, it's probably not that good. But there's a lot of cutting points for white. So he's going to connect here. I'm going to protect here. And then this isn't, I mean, this is much better. This is just much better, straight up. Because, like, at least you get the territory down here. Because if you do this and you let me come in here, like, I don't know, you're losing a lot of territory here. I mean, you can do this move, which would actually be troublesome for white, but it's kind of troublesome for black as well. So letting me kind of invade, and realistically, if you're going to do this, you might as well just do something like this. But once again, since I'm already up here, this influence doesn't really mean all that much. That doesn't make any sense at all. That particular move, that's an awful move. If you want to answer this, you do this to limit me. I probably wouldn't respond to that, but that's an awful move, forcing me to either Hane, like forcing me to come up. So, because you don't really have any other choice. Of course, I'm going to do this. You have to retreat. Then I'm going to invade here. So, like, by that sequence of moves, he already lost about 10 points. One, because he got really squeezed here. And these are very, very bad trades for him. Because even if I didn't do this and I just did this, like, I've made just as much territory here as he actually has here, if not more. And he invested a lot more. Like, I didn't really have to sacrifice to get this, because I actually ended up breaking his territory, but he had to give me all these bottom points in order to get this. So that's not an even trade. But I decided to invade here because I know that's the biggest move. Jump up. This is a very, very bad trade. There's actually not a good way to answer this, because if you do this, if you actually do this, I'm going to happily take this stone, and that's a very, very good trade for white. Even though, like, this influence here doesn't really mean all that much now, and you get a lot of territory on the bottom. But this is, like, the way he actually played it is probably the worst one possible. Because it makes you so weak over here. I've successfully destroyed all this territory down here without that much effort. You know, in this kind of condition, I wonder if, like, people have ever thought, like, that actually might work. I don't know how this works. This is a pretty big fight. This is actually a pretty big fight. But it doesn't really, it's not all that good for white either. So you could just try to opt to do this and then, like, have me extend this way. I would definitely do that first, but then you would still get the territory here. This would probably be Sente at this point. I'm not exactly sure, but you might think about doing that. Or, I mean, even doing this is better than what he eventually came out with, because at least you get the territory down here. And like I said, even though this looks bad, it's not as bad as, like, it would be, because there's just not much territory potential in this area. So think about, like, if like all these stones weren't here, you would never, like yesterday, if all these stones weren't here, you would never consider this. And maybe something like this. But since all these stones are actually here already, this isn't as powerful. This just isn't as powerful, because what am I going to do with this influence exactly? I can't attack anything. There's not much potential for territory. So you might actually consider something like that in this particular situation, because you're not going to make much territory up here anyways, right? But this is, like, the worst outcome that you could actually get. This is fine for the most part. I probably shouldn't have answered that, because these two aren't worth very much, so I should have played somewhere else. Maybe, like, here, because if he does this, I can just do this, you know, like, he gets 4 points, and that's not a big deal. So I wasn't thinking correctly on that. I defended these two stones, but it's really not worth it. He does that. I'm not going to answer. And I don't answer because there's just not much potential for territory here. I'm going to fly over here instead to decrease his potential for territory this way, and also increase my own potential for getting a couple of points. Going to do that. Okay, so these 5 are worth 10 points, and there's probably better than a 10-point move. I actually think, like, this move would actually be worth more than this 5, because he has to spend another move guarding this 5. And if he does that, like, I can do something like this. which he probably has to respond. And then I can just make more territory over here. So this move may have not been that great. Then he does that. I'm just going to go ahead and do this because I know like trading these moves is going to be very beneficial for me. Because all he can get is this territory here. And if I build up enough over here, I can get like about 20 points. For this particular move, I think you pretty much always take this first because he's going to answer. And then that just leaves something there for the future. That's why I eventually did that. But I probably should have just done that first. I'm going to come over here. There's not much points down here, so I don't really like this. I don't like this answer. I think this is probably a better answer overall. So he does this. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. He pretty much has to answer that. And then I basically get the Sente here. I mean, I guess like I probably wouldn't answer this. I can't really cut, so I probably wouldn't answer this if I was black, because like you're really protecting 4 or 5 points, and making this move is just so basically if you do this, you're protecting these points in here, but then you give me this. Whereas like if you don't, you can make this move and you shrink my points down by a lot. So 5, maybe 3, 4 points here, maybe like 10, 12 points here. So this is the better move here. Whoops. Let me get back into the YouTube channel. I kind of screwed that up. Let me get back into the YouTube channel. But yeah, like, so when white does something like this, you have to take this into consideration. Do I protect the points here, or do I destroy white's territory up here? And since white's territory is just worth a lot more, you definitely destroy the territory up here. So this swap obviously is going to be pretty bad for him. And like I said, I make a and like I actually make the same point over here. Why did I do this instead of do this? Because sorry, not this, but this. Same reason. Because if I do this, he's got the Sente move here. And this is actually worth probably 6 or 7 points. It is probably worth 6 or 7 points. But how much is this actually worth? I'm not really sure. You know, like this is maybe worth 2 or 3 points. So this is going to be the superior move. This is not good for him. This exchange is definitely not good for him because like there's just not many points here and he gets Gote. So like when white does this, as black you would either do this, or take the stone here. Those are the 3 biggest moves. No, actually no, I would do this first because that probably does force white to respond. Because that looks like it's Sente. So I would probably do that first. You doing this basically protects like 2 or 3 points here, but something like this is I'm gonna do this first because it's Sente. But something like this is just so much bigger. I get Sente here, I solidify this, and then I'm gonna connect this. Here, once again, either this move, or this move. You got to get one of those moves. Because yes, if I Hane, it is like 3 or 4 points, but this is, I'm going to do that first with Sente, but like, and I'm just going to take all these Sentes. And once, but like this move is going to be much, much bigger than this. So I'm going to do this, that, I do that. See, like this move is not as big as like this move. Just counting points wise, it's not. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure this is alive. So that's actually how I got ahead by so many points. One is like his mistake here, letting me get such a big advantage while trying to protect very few points. And 2, like trying to make this territory here while I made this territory here. And 3, obviously, the ending moves cost him quite a bit. So that's this game. I'm going to accept this one. Is this ranked or unranked? Like, if you challenge me, please make it unranked. I don't really want to play like a 900 elo difference game when it's ranked. That doesn't really make any sense for me. Guys, please hit the likes and subscribes. That would really help this channel a lot. I'm thinking like this would actually be a better start. I like the high-low combination. I really do like the high-low combination. I'm trying to get more used to this rather than the S16 move, because this is supposed to be better. I like the S16 move, honestly, but, you know. I personally like the S16 move better, because it doesn't, it basically, it gets rid of stuff like this. This one I'm going to take off and do this. I feel like this is worth more than this right now. Could be wrong, though. Could definitely be wrong here. That's really just not worth it right now. This is much bigger. Also, I can answer with that later. I'm just going to make go this way. I don't think that's a good move, but I need to protect my cut. That's okay. Come up this way. I need to break his influence here. It's a very good response. I'm going to solidify my corner because it's very, very big. It also leaves some Aji over here. Later on, not right now. That's a pretty good move. That does solidify his corner a lot more. Now it's just a game of... I think this is really big. Using that one, huh? This is the right move, by the ways. But I'm going to do this time and see how he answers. Because I am actually okay with fighting this. Even though I don't really know who wins, I'm perfectly fine with... I'm also fine with trading on the side. Ooh, that's not a good move right now because I'm not going to answer that at all. I was never banking on that territory there anyways, so. I think this is big enough right now. It does solidify me and it makes sure that he can't actually attack me. That's never a good move. Once again, there's not that much here. I'm probably going to jump out sooner or later, but there's really not that much there. There's also not that much territory over here either. And letting me come out here is not that smart. This is very big. That's a really bad move. You really don't want to fight that. You 100% do not want to fight that. I mean, I guess you want to extend that, but not really. Do I really want... Whatever. It's fine. Okay. All right. Sure. That didn't really accomplish anything for him, though, is the thing. Yeah, see, like this bottom territory is actually a lot harder than most people think to actually get. There's several invasion points. I'm just as happy to do this. Because A, I can just attack the whole thing up here eventually. Like, you realize, like, you have to realize that, like, all of this has, like, 0 eyes. Yeah. Oh, wait. That was bad. Actually, yeah, that was really bad. That was actually really bad. I should have definitely done this first, like, because I 100% needed to solidify this kill. Okay, let me actually get this in straight. Well, that's going to be that. I'm going to give him those 5. It's probably the best move for me. It's not... I mean, after killing this, like, those 5 really aren't worth much. Okay, this doesn't actually work in the same way. You're a lot more squeezed here than I was. You don't have to do that right away, and you really shouldn't do that right away because this group is actually in danger. I just let that live. I don't know if he can actually live. But you know what? Whatever. Let's just do this. Yeah, I think this is fine. This doesn't really work because of the sequencing. And now this is actually in danger, so, but I don't want him to take that, so I'm just going to connect this. I'm not in danger because I can always come back here. I have set up like a little fight down here, but I'm not really that concerned. And even if he takes this, he's still lost because he lost all of this. But he can't beat me here in this fight. Ooh, I didn't see this. Maybe he did get that. Oh yeah, I did make a mistake there. Definitely made a mistake there. Just gonna go ahead and I'll just give this to him. It's not a big deal. I'll just take the rest of this. This isn't like this is like I made a mistake, so I'm cutting my losses at this point. That's what this is. I mean, I've killed all of this. I've literally killed all of this, so yeah, not afraid of losing. Oh, good move. Broke into that corner. I could actually just take this, you know. Okay. That's solid, but you still can't do anything. Yeah, I'm a little confused by this particular play. I think he's trying to get my corner. But if I can connect, he can't really do anything with the corner there. Okay. That's fine. Just gonna connect this. I should actually do this first, always, but whatever. It is Sente for me, so it doesn't really matter all that much. You need to do this first, because this is always going to be Sente for... Oh, me. Is that... Did I make a wrong move? Might have just made... No, I didn't. I'm fine. I can always sack this stone. I'm just going to be safe and connect this. I don't know what the point of that is. Because I'm like alive here and like I'm actually like alive. Like you can't really do anything here. So these two groups are separated. So I'm a little bit confused as what the point of that is. This is better. This is much better than just to connect, because if you do this, I have this forcing move and it costs you a point. Pretty sure this game is pretty much over. There are no more... I do not believe there are any more moves here to be made.
Pass. Remove the dead stones. You have won.
Obviously, like the big story here I think this game was okay. I think this game was actually okay until like this invasion here. The response to that invasion was definitely not that great. You'll see as we actually get into this game. So that is the last game I'm going to play today, but I will review this. Go under, that's fine. Approach, basic Joseki. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bigger. Like the corner approaches and the corner guards are gonna be a little bit bigger than this one, but it's not a major thing. I did this approach, and then he does that. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I think like if I was black, I would still do this though. Um, yeah, I think like since I didn't finish this, I think this is the move to do definitely. So he does that. This isn't. I mean, this is a big move, but I think this is just going to be bigger. Forcing that way, gonna go up. Double Hane. Like when I go up, I don't know if you really respond to this. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't respond. I would go ahead and do this or go ahead and do this or something. I don't think you should respond, and that just gives me the Hane. I probably should have left this alone, but I don't like leaving this cutting space, so I go ahead and do this. Here, you don't need to respond. There's not much I can do to the stone. Invasion is easily the best right now. Because if I solidify this territory, I'm just going to have more territory than you. So you would definitely invade. Because there's really not much I can actually do here. So you go down here to solidify this territory. I'm going to jump up here. Realistically, I think this is the biggest move. Just solidifying the territory down here. So that's actually fine as well. I'm going to go do this first, just to solidify the corner. That is, like, this is actually a big move. You probably watched my last video and saw the invasion here, but this invasion is just much bigger right now. This invasion is just much bigger right now. So you giving me the Sente here means that I actually get to solidify this. This is actually fine. And here, I would just take this territory. You trading your corner from my side is always beneficial for you, so I actually screwed up there. This invasion is fine. I mean, I could have just kind of like done something else. I probably should have just left it alone and just done this straight out. I think that's going to be better than what I did here. Like, I shouldn't trade this for this. Yeah, like I said, I feel like this is better than this up here. Lets me get a clamp. That's not a good move because I'm not going to answer that. There's no reason I would answer that. I'm going to jump here. And realistically, like these are not big enough to warrant an answer right now. So I don't know what you would actually do, but maybe play here or something. I feel like I shouldn't answer this either. I should just let black spin like random moves here, or I should just go ahead and do this. Yeah, that's probably the best move because there's quite a bit of points by doing this, and there isn't really that much up here. So I'm going to connect. This is always a bad move. You don't want to force your white like this. In this kind of situation, you would just play elsewhere. I still think this is a pretty big move. I think this is a fairly large move. You just kind of leave this alone over here. Forcing me out is always bad. The more you force me out, the worse it is for you. That's fine. Then this, so yeah, this is actually pretty big. This is going to be bigger than this. So after I block here, you should definitely do this. Coming up and then letting me get this is a good trade for white. That's an awful move. Once again, here you probably just wouldn't respond. Here, like black, if you're going to respond, if you respond, you either connect or you don't respond at all. One of those two. Giving that, obviously very bad. And obviously that gives me a cut right there. So you connect, I'm going to take this. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because this doesn't really threaten me all that much. Gonna Atari here first, and then I was also thinking about. Actually, no. Does this actually work? Oh, I didn't calculate. I think this still works. I didn't actually. Yeah, this still works. So this actually still works. I didn't actually calculate out this ladder, but that actually still works. But here I was actually thinking about just doing this as well, because this isn't that big of a deal. But like I don't have quite this on this corner yet, so I didn't want to do that. Just do this, leave this out. I'm going to do this, Hane, do that, curl, do that. And then jump out here to threaten this. You do that, and I'm going to clamp at this point. Because there is definitely stuff on that clamp. So like this cut didn't actually get him anything. Like my group here is perfectly fine. My group here is perfectly fine. And he doesn't get any threats. I'm out over here. And he basically solidified my territory down here. So I'm going to clamp on this. This clamp, I feel like you just do this and just like let it go. Because there's too much, there's way too much Aji here. Like you can't, no, you might just do this and just let it go and just like not respond at this point. This has always been here. You can't do this. Letting me come out is pretty disastrous. I feel like this might have actually been better here. Because there's really not much like, well, no, this wouldn't have worked. No, this wouldn't have worked for black, I guess. No, actually it would have, because I can actually just do this. And this would actually be a ladder, right? So that would be really, really bad for white. So I didn't calculate all that out, but I should have just like I should have just double Haned on this. Let me actually play this out, because if I do this, I don't think you could do this either, yeah. So if I do this, you would have to continue extending, and then I would win the Liberties fight, yes. So yeah, I made a mistake there. I should have just double Haned, but I connected. You do this. Of course, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to kill your group. I think at this point, you just let it go. You pretty much just, at this point, you have to guarantee that this group survives. I mean, yes, you lose, but I mean, like that's going this way just means you're going to lose more and more. Like literally, if I do this, like this whole thing is dead. So here I made a pretty big mistake, because this is actually a thing. If I do this, you do this, so I can't actually block. I would have to flow out here, and that gives you more options. Now, the thing is, like at this point, you would either lose all of this or lose this in here. You're going to lose one of those two. But since you actually did that, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and hurry up and connect that. I am going to let you take those. This is not as big. This is definitely not as, like, this doesn't even work. This doesn't work. It's not the same situation as that over there. I'm going to connect this. And then I'm going to do this first because you have to answer. And this actually lets me get this through. And this is actually a lot in danger now. So even if you do this, I can kind of like do something like this and threaten this entire thing. So obviously, like that, giving me the Gote, this basically dooms this group. And realistically, I could have easily just like done this and killed this as well. So none of the options for white are good, for black are good. So that is what actually happened in this game and how he lost. The invasion, like this side territory. This side territory here is not easy to secure. It's like I think a lot of lower ranked players think that like once you invade twice and have the 3, it's secure. This territory is definitely not secure. I've actually played against Katago many times with this type of shape, and I can almost never secure this territory. So I know there's a lot of invasion stuff in here. So that side territory is very hard to secure. So that is going to be the lesson for today. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys later.